Hello fellow Helldivers, Thornton here, and we are out, just exploring in the mountains, but today we're going to be talking about, well, the automatons and how they have new tank units coming in, but luckily we seem to be having our own tank right around the corner with more vehicles. We're going to go over all of that. Without further ado, let's jump into today's topic.
So, we are going to be talking about vehicles today, and some people will be like, and I already know what's going to happen in the comment section, we already know stuff about vehicles. Well, it was actually posted on Reddit the other day, where a bunch of users were like, the automatons got tanks, why can't we have one? And this was massively upvoted, so I just want to put at the beginning of this, while we go over the information, keep in mind that while you may know every single leak coming to the game, not everyone knows everything, and so this video is for the general masses, and not just for you. Remember, keep your fellow Helldivers in mind when they want to learn and know about new stuff. Now, the big thing in that image, though, is that the fact that players, well, want tanks to compete with the automatons. The automatons recently got the Barrager tanks, which are pretty awesome. That being said, it looks like with the Iron Legion, they are going to be getting even bigger tanks, and where does that really leave us as Helldivers? Well, thanks to the great data miner Iron Sights, he did actually let us know, and I highly recommend you guys follow him on Twitter. He has the newest leaks and updates there, always first. He did show us a render of a game of the TD-110 Bastion Tank, and thanks to another user, they were actually able to render it in game. As you can see here, it is definitely a human type vehicle, unlike the Barrager, and this is actually coming from the first game of Helldivers 1, where you could go ahead and run around it. There was a driver, there was a shooter. It was overall a pretty fun game mechanic. Now the question is, are we going to get these anytime soon? Because we've heard a ton about different vehicles coming to the game for a very long time. There was the APAC, which is this giant monstrosity of a vehicle you can see right here. And this was actually brought to the game by hackers who were able to get into the game files and release them for certain players to run around and use them on PC, which was actually pretty interesting about 3 or 4 months ago when we first saw it. There's also another vehicle, which is going to be the Recon Vehicle. I'll go ahead and show some gameplay right here. This one has not been as popular in gameplay leaks, so I'll go ahead and play the clip right here so you guys can kind of see how it would function.
Tunnel breach!
So as you can see there, this is a much smaller vehicle, kind of like the tank where there's one driver, one gunner. It's also very similar to the Warthog from Halo. And overall, this would, I think, in my opinion, be the most well-fitting stratagem we call into the game. Apparently, to unlock these vehicles, we will get a weapons vehicle bay. 500 samples unlocks it. This is all very far down the line. Now, of course, there is another vehicle that is also found in the files called a Colony Rover that you can see right here. Unfortunately, there's no gameplay for this. This is just a render that Iron Sights once again did. It looks like it's going to be for transporting stuff across the map. Definitely not something where we go ahead and actually use a lot of firefighting for. But the problem right now with the game, it does seem to be that, according to Asunder, who's another valuable data miner, is that vehicles are vaulted due to hardware limits. It's hard to go ahead and get all these vehicles to work functionally and properly. They worked in the first game, Helldivers 1, because it was a top-down isometric style game, whereas this is a first-person slash third-person cinematic experience with a lot of things going on. We talked about the most recent timeline that we could see this stuff, which there is stuff in the files that Super Earth actually has road textures we'll be playing on, which could imply that we are going to be getting some vehicles there as well. It wouldn't be surprising if we saw some tanks because, well, Super Earth and there's the President's Mansion, so on and so forth. But as of right now, vehicles seem completely vaulted and they may not actually work in the game unless Arrowhead can find some workaround for it. That being said, if you guys have not seen any of the APAC gameplay, a YouTuber known as Redline718 Gaming actually went ahead and broke down how it will actually function in game as he got to try it out. I'll go ahead and play that here so you guys have a full understanding, and all credit goes to him.
This thing is really slow, it's really clunky. You have to use L1 and R1 to shift gears in order to drive it. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you see that it has R for reverse, neutral, drive, and 1 and 2. Now, the problem is L1 and R1 are binded to other things. So they're not deactivated just because you're inside the APC. When I drive the APC and I press R1 to shift gears, it marks stuff on the map. So these things are, I feel like will be fixed when they finally release it. But the driving is clunky. I love the way it looks. This thing moves around very weird. The driving is a little weird. It doesn't get over obstacles well. It doesn't feel real strong, like I'm driving a tank and can just go over everything, like just most things. You get caught on little rocks, caught in little ditches, and you don't feel like you had the horsepower to pull yourself out of those trap situations. So you end up, in a lot of cases, stuck with this APC, and you're trying to force your way to move it. Now, we took it into Helldive, and one time just to see how strong it was. This thing literally feels like a clunkier exosuit, in my opinion, with maybe one extra gun, like an autocannon, right? So it's good to drive around if you can set yourself up. You don't have to drop turrets, right? You have two machine guns that reload like the machine guns, are as strong as the machine guns, and an autocannon. So it's like having a autocannon without having to drop the actual autocannon sentry in, so you have a lot of firepower centered into one area, which is really cool and everything. If you got enough distance, if anything close the distance on you, and you don't get rid of something like a charger, you feel very vulnerable. So that's my opinion on this.
That's basically going to be everything you guys need to know about Helldivers 2, vehicles, and the tanks. We're going to play some community clips right now. Don't forget to submit your own clips to me on Thornton Smash on Twitter, but without further ado, let's roll it. Let me know down below, what do you guys think about new types of vehicles such as tanks coming into the game? Do you think it would be a good addition, or do you think that they would just be a little too busted? Also, don't forget to check out this video and this video right here, where I cover more news on Helldivers 2 on the daily. Until next time, everyone, thanks for stopping by. Keep spreading democracy.